Well, my friends, the economic death spiral is here. The House has just passed a $1.5 trillion funding bill that gives nearly $14 billion to the Ukraine. Meanwhile, the price of gasoline is skyrocketing as America just hit all-time records for inflation, which is exploding, hitting 7.9%, which is the highest it's ever been in 40 years. My friends, America's on the verge of an economic collapse. Hello, everyone. This is Mr. Obvious, and today on the internet, I want to talk about the massive destruction to the American economy that is happening right now. Here in the Daily Mail, you can see in the following headline, "It's all Vlad's fault. Biden blames Putin for 7.9% inflation, the highest in 40 years. Even though Russia only invaded the Ukraine 4 days before the end of the month being measured." In other words, the economy was already destroyed before the war. The reality is, things are simply gonna get way worse. But we're gonna talk about that and more before we do. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon for updates for future content, and if you like the videos that I make, then share these videos with your family and friends and on social media. And now, a word from our sponsor. Introducing Webull. Webull is a trading app where you can buy and sell cryptocurrency and stocks. Open a Webull account today, download the app, and deposit any amount of money, and you will receive 5 free stocks worth up to $9,600. The minimum is like 27 bucks, so really it's free money and you can't lose. There's also a $5 crypto reward when you make your first cryptocurrency trade. Join today by clicking the link down below. And we're back. Okay, so let's get right to it, folks. America just passed a massive spending bill, which is going to send America's already record inflation spiraling out of control. So here we are on the Daily Mail. This just in, the House has passed a $1.5 trillion government funding bill that includes nearly $14 billion in aid for Ukraine, after Democrats forced Pelosi to yank COVID relief dollars from the final package. Okay, so the United States just passed this massive spending bill. Well, they call it a funding bill, but let's be honest, they're printing money. I just want to point something out right off the bat. Democrats are always talking about how we can't build a wall on the southern border because it would be too expensive. Let's make it clear. A wall on the southern border would cost, I believe it's around $5.7 billion. They're sending $14 billion to the Ukraine. We could build 2 walls and still have leftover billions to maybe feed hungry children or something. Okay, let's read. The House of Representatives on Wednesday evening passed a $1.5 trillion spending package that would fund the government through September and send nearly $14 billion in Ukraine to aid it during the Russian invasion. Now, I heard some reports that Kamala Harris said she would be willing to send $50 billion to Ukraine. Apparently, this was in response to Poland asking America to give more support. Insane. This bill passed after a Democrat-led mutiny forced House Speaker Nancy Pelosi to basically get rid of COVID-19 aid dollars. I suppose they just moved the money to Ukraine. Isn't it funny how basically Putin cured COVID? All of a sudden, nobody cares about COVID anymore. So they took the dollars from the COVID and now they're going to give it to Ukraine. I'm guessing that's what happened. So the legislation now is headed to the Senate, where lawmakers must finalize the bill. Now, I don't know if it's going to pass. It's passed in the House, let's make that clear. But if it does pass the Senate, there you go. They're going to print $1.5 trillion, and we're going to continue into this inflation death spiral. But speaking about record-breaking inflation, here on the Daily Mail, again, Biden blames Putin for inflation, even though the numbers for inflation came before Russia invaded. So according to the story here, inflation is likely to spike even higher next month, as the impact of soaring fuel prices is taken into account. The dramatic rise in the cost of living is likely to spell trouble for Biden in November's midterms, sparking claims the president's decision to blame Russia is a diversionary tactic. You think? The most shocking thing about this is that these numbers are from February. They don't even account for the current state of the world, which are gonna be worse. The price of used cars is up 41% last month. Gasoline was up 38% last month. Imagine how high it's going to be next month. We are in an economic inflationary death spiral. There's no other way to put it. We are going down. So they're saying that this is Putin's price hike. That's what they're calling it. Putin's price hike. I don't believe any of it for a second. It wasn't Putin who blocked Russian oil. It wasn't Putin who did all the sanctions. Biden is the one destroying America. Democrats are the ones destroying the economy. This happened under their watch. Well, let's talk about Russia. According to CNN Business, Russia's economy will be devastated by sanctions, and further sanctions are under consideration, according to Janet Yellen. I don't buy this. So basically, the Western world is trying to destroy Russia by banning stuff, by sanctioning it. Companies are shutting down their businesses. One big story is that McDonald's has recently closed all its stores from Russia. And this is actually a big deal for the Russian people. I know it might seem funny to me and you, but for Russians, McDonald's was a place where you could go, see a smiling face that was genuinely friendly, and get a nice meal at a regular price. In many places in Russia, you can't find that. Russian restaurants are not friendly much of the time. They don't always have the food, and the prices are not the best quite often. To us, it's just fast food. To Russians, McDonald's represented a little slice of heaven. I know it's funny to us because we're used to it, and maybe we're just spoiled. I don't know. But it was a big deal to Russians. Heck, I got this funny story here. Check this out on the Daily Mail. Desperate Russian fills his entire fridge with McDonald's after the restaurant suspended trading over Ukraine, as others cash in by selling Big Mac meals for 250 euros. Or is that pounds? I think those are pounds. You can see here pictures of all these Macs shoved into a fridge, and apparently they're selling McDonald's meals on the internet. It's insane. It really is. I mean, trust me, McDonald's doesn't last. It goes stale very fast. Unintentional rhyme. But the lesson here is that Russians really love McDonald's, and we're taking that away from them. I want to show you something. And I posted this on my Twitter account, @ObviousRedPills, and I posted the following screenshot. Check this out. Here with Nexta on Twitter. YouTube has turned off all features in #Russia that allowed YouTube channel creators to earn money. Marcy says, you guys aren't punishing Putin anymore. You're punishing people just for effing existing. Exactly. What do you accomplish by taking away McDonald's from Russians who love McDonald's? Who even cares what the reason is? What did they do to you? It's not a Russian civilian who has nothing to do with the government. It's not their fault. The way the world is treating Russians is wrong. It is evil. I'm going to take you over to time.com. In the following story, Russians around the world are facing abuse and harassment amid the Ukraine conflict. This is the story of a Russian house and bar restaurant called Russia House. The restaurant is ran by a couple, a man named Ike Gezeran and his wife, Yulia. Ever since Russia invaded the Ukraine, Gezeran decided to answer the phone himself after the restaurant received about 15 to 20 abusive phone calls. I'm going to read the following paragraph so you can see. Here the story says, he didn't pay much attention to the first few calls, which he attributed to kids just messing around. But then some of the calls seemed to threaten violence. Quote, we started getting more serious calls, with people yelling at us and screaming at us, says Gezeran, who is ethnically Armenian but has lived in Russia. Quote, as if we had something to do with this war, blaming us for what the Putin regime is doing. We had people calling, saying they're going to blow stuff up. His wife, Yulia, had borne the brunt of those calls. Gezeran says, quote, I had to take the phone because I don't want people screaming at her. This article goes over the massive wave of anti-Russian sentiment and hate that has been spreading. This guy runs a Russian restaurant serving Russian food. And what do you get? A bunch of people making threats. And this is being normalized. Corporations are punishing Russians. The world is punishing Russia. Russians, governments are hurting Russian citizens for no good reason, banning them off Twitter, banning them off YouTube, taking away their monetization, taking away their ability to make a living, trying to starve them, trying to destroy them. And do you think for 1 minute that your Russian is gonna look at the world in the way they're being treated and say, the world is right, Russia is wrong, we must stop Putin in this madness? No, because if I was Russian, if I was deleted off the internet, if I was suppressed, if I was censored, and trust me, I have been actually, some of those things have happened to me, I was demonetized, I would be angry at those people for what they have done. And I would say, you know what? Putin is right. But that, my friends, is merely the obvious. Well, that's all for now, folks. What do you think about this story? Let me know by commenting down below in the comment section. As always, support the channel by joining me on Patreon or Subscribestar. This channel is currently not monetized. It is supported by viewers like you. Joining does give you access to a private Discord server, members only. So if you want to join, check out those links in the description. Anyways, thanks for watching, folks. I'll see you all next time.